Poor for Trump. We are poor persons, and we want to see Donald Trump be the next president. Now, why do we want that? Well, we believe that the Democratic Party just basically is a party of fraudulence. Now, this is a video that's copyrighted by poorfortrump@gmail.com, and you may agree with us or disagree. That's your right, and we love you for disagreeing with us or for agreeing with us. But don't just be a stupid idiot and disagree with us without having a reason. Now, the reason we want Trump in is because we realized that the Democratic Party is not for the poor, but just uses the idea that it's for the poor so that it can get votes from sympathetic people in this country who think the government should help the poor. But of course, the Democratic Party doesn't help the poor, and it doesn't use the government to help the poor. It just uses that idea that it's for the poor to get votes so it can do what it loves to do, and that's to be a bunch of people who make their money off of the government, running for office. They can't get a job, so they run for office, and they tell you, vote for me, whether I'm the best in the world, and you do because you're a stupid idiot, and you just vote for them. This whole business is crazy. Now look, you don't know your history, and you're not smart enough to think for yourself. That's why you think Hillary Clinton should be president. Hillary Clinton hasn't done anything to qualify herself to be president, and she's done plenty of things that show that she's not qualified to be president, but you can't find that out from the media. Whatever she does, the media thinks it's okay. They won't make an issue about it. They'll report it, but they'll report it in a way that lets you say, well, okay, too bad, nothing, doesn't matter. Why? Because the media is for Hillary Clinton, because Hillary Clinton's probably a pothead. She probably smokes pot. She's probably been smoking it since she's a child, a teenager, along with her husband, who admitted he smoked pot, but he didn't inhale. Now, what a lie, and what a bunch of fools the American people are to accept that as funny, and then put the man in office. Look, Hillary Clinton is a fraud. She can't stand poor people. She can't stand rich people. She can't stand white people or black people. The only person that's important to Hillary Clinton is Hillary Clinton. And the only thing matters to her is that she's going to be the next president, which she's not qualified to be. If she wants to be the president, why didn't she spend the last 16 years learning something about how to be a president instead of being an idiot fool? And where in the world did she get $40 million? The net worth says she has $40 million. Where did she get it from? Well, a bunch of liberals who think she's God give it to her. She didn't earn it. She stole it, or well, she was given to her, so she didn't steal it. Look, the Democratic Party has existed for as long as this nation has existed. When slavery was started, the Democratic Party was all for it. Why? Because the Democratic Party was a bunch of racists and people whose purpose it was to figure out how to use the American government to get over on other people. And black people were wonderful. Poor black ignorant people, why, they could work for free. And they did. And this country was founded to end slavery, but you don't know that because the historians, who are a bunch of pot smokers today, and the news media, a bunch of pot smokers and crack users, and they're rich so they can do it and get away with it. And Hillary Clinton can do it. She's got an army around her protecting her, and she smokes pot. Nobody can do anything about it. Same like the Roosevelts did when they were in the 1930s, when they were living in Hyde Park and drinking alcohol. And nobody else could, but they could, because they were more important than everybody else. And certainly Hillary Clinton thinks she's more important than you are. She thinks she's better than you are. She's very proud of herself, you know. But what does the word proud mean? Doesn't it mean you think you're better than other people, or does it mean something else? If you think it means something else, and you can show me in a dictionary, an old dictionary with the meaning of proud, since it was used in the English language for generations, that shows that proud doesn't mean you think you're better than someone else, then please let me know. It's at poorfortrump@gmail.com. Send me the information. I'll read it. But what is prejudice? Well, prejudice, doesn't that mean you think other people aren't as good as you are? Doesn't it mean you think you're better than other people? So, now to the Democratic Party and these stupid idiot liberals, they're insane, they got a mental disease. They think that it's bad to be prejudiced, and they think they're not prejudiced, but it's okay to be proud. So they're proud. But they never looked in the dictionary to find out that proud and prejudice means the same thing. And how can one be good and one be bad and they both mean the same thing? Oh, well, there's a nice way to think of proud. Well, I don't know any nice way to think of it. You say you're proud of someone or something. You say you think they're better than somebody else. Well, what do you really mean? Do you mean you're happy that they did well? Or something like that? Well, why don't you say that? According to our culture, the Western European culture, the word Satan, who is our enemy, fell from being Lucifer to being Satan because he got involved with pride. Pride. He became proud. He thought he was better than he was. He thought he was so great that he was greater than God. Well, now Hillary Clinton does the same thing, and the media goes along with it. She thinks she's God, and the media thinks she's God. They love her. You can't see anything bad about Hillary Clinton in the press or the media, because they're brainwashed. You go for Hillary Clinton, you can't think of any reason why she shouldn't be president. You are brainwashed. You don't have the ability to think for yourself, and you're not being allowed to think for yourself, and you don't want to do it. You don't want to think for yourself. You want the party to tell you what to do. But what do you want to do? Do you want to smoke pot? Are you poor and black and you want to get drunk and smoke pot and let your children die in hell? Or do you want to be responsible and do a good job and do wonderful things? Well, if you do want to do that, I got bad news for you. If you live in a city controlled by the Democratic Party, before they let you have a job, they're going to put you in jail. And a 16-year-old in New York City, you live in the ghetto, you want to get a job, you got to jump the turnstile to get out of the ghetto so you can go someplace where there's jobs. And the Democratic-run city council, 4 Republicans and the rest Democrats, 20 or whatever, for how many years? Before time could be counted. They run the city of New York. And they think it's fine that a 16-year-old black child shouldn't have the money or the means that they have to pay to go on the subway. Why don't they let the subway be free in the poor neighborhoods? Get on and get off as you need. Because the most important thing you need in the city is transportation. You don't have a father to give you money to $50 to go 10 times on a subway and find a job. But when you jump the turnstile, the Democratic police are going to arrest you. Democratic judge is going to say you're guilty. Democratic prosecutor is going to say you're guilty. And the rotten son of a Democratic public defender is going to tell you to plead guilty, whether you did it or not. You're poor, you're black, plead guilty and you won't spend a day in jail. But if you insist on your innocence, you're going to go to jail. Now that's what the Democrats think about poor people, especially poor black people. They're going to solve the problems. How can they solve the problems when they made the problems? They're making them. They've been making them for 250 years. The Republican Party it was created in 1861 to end slavery. That was the purpose of it. And they did end slavery. A whole lot of white people died because they thought the idea that anybody should be a slave, regardless of color, was wrong. And they didn't like it. And it got to a point where they said, well, now this is going to end. And then who were these people from the South? They were Democrats. Rotten son of a Democrats who started the Civil War because they didn't want to let the poor black people have a life. And then when they lost, the Republican Party started running black people for office for about 8, 10, 12 years. Go read your history books. Take your head out of the sand, you stupid idiot, and learn something. They put black people in office. And poor people, too. But then the Democrats figured out, well, they can't be slaves anymore. They figured out how to make them work for free. And then they figured out segregation and all kinds of racism. Because the Democratic people are evil from their core. That's why they want people to drink alcohol. They made that legal in the 30s. Oh, peace, peace, we love peace. And in the meantime, Hitler, who should have been stopped in the 30s, caused 60 million people to die because the stupid DAMN Democrats and peace lovers wouldn't end him in the 1930s when he was nothing. Now what kind of a stupidity is that? And then the Democratic Party took over because they were willing to let alcohol be free, be available, be legal. And what did alcohol do? It devastated the poor black communities that couldn't get anywhere. The people are poor, they're black, they're mistreated, they're frustrated, and they don't know what else to do. They get drunk. And that destroyed the black community for 100 years. And now these rotten Democrats are trying to make pot smoking legal. They let illegal people come into this country, break the law coming in the country, and it's okay. But the law that the people are breaking was made by the Democratic Party. The Republican Party hasn't controlled Congress. It's never controlled Congress since the 1870s. Back and forth, always the majority of Congress was Democrats. The only time the Republicans that I can remember had a little control was for 2 years in Eisenhower's time. And he started to end racism. The Democrats didn't end it. The Eisenhower administration made the Justice Department force Arkansas schools to let black children go to them. How stupid can you be to be poor black or black in middle class and think that the Democratic Party is your friend when they can't stand your guts? Go register as a Republican if you're poor and black or middle class, and vote for Donald Trump. But don't stop there, because Donald Trump's not the best person to be president. But good Lord, he isn't running for president because he wants to be president, but because he's a straight shooter. He's talking about how rotten our government is, and it's been made rotten by the Democrats, and the Republicans tried to make it good, but they couldn't do it because you wouldn't vote for them. So they said, well, you can't beat them, let's join them. So the Republican Party's gotten just about as rotten as the Democrats, except for this difference. The Democrats want the poor people, especially the poor black people, to stay that way forever. And the Republicans would like to see the poor black people get out of poverty. by working hard, by getting an education, by not drinking, by not smoking pot, but by being a responsible human being. That's what they want. Donald Trump's he has faults. I can tell you reasons why he shouldn't be president. But you can't tell me one reason why Hillary Clinton shouldn't be president, even though the reasons are right in front of your face. Tells me you're either not thinking or not thinking for yourself, or you've been brainwashed. When you want to control a government, the first thing you do is take control of the news media and the radio and the TV. And the Democrats have control of that because the radio and the TV and the news media hate the Republicans because they stand up for improvement in this country, and they love the Democrats because the news media wants to smoke pot. And they know the Democrats will let it be because the Democratic Party has always promoted immoral things. Smoking pot is immoral. So is getting drunk. So is aborting your baby. Good Lord. Mothers are supposed to love their children. Even if the child came from rape, their mother is supposed to have this love. But not a Democratic mother. No. Well, Hillary Clinton wants to be president, and her husband raped a woman in the White House. Well, I'll tell you, if he had been black and that had done what he did, it would have been said he raped a woman in the White House. But because he's a pig, and because he's immoral, and because everyone who voted for him and wanted him thought it's okay that he should be immoral, that's how he got to be president. What kind of woman is Hillary Clinton? Her husband rapes a woman in the White House in the Oval Office, and she acts like it's no big deal. Why? Because she wanted to run for president, and she knew he had a lot of political support. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Good Lord, she's a fraud. She's an absolute fraud. And she's been probably, I don't know, but she's probably been smoking pot for the last 50 years. And her brain is shit. That's what it is. You smoke pot and your brain turns into feces. That's why she can't be Secretary of State, and that's why she's not qualified to be president. I don't care how wonderful her political agenda is. The rotten Democrats, the Iranians, have said for 25 years, not the terrorists, the government has said it wants to destroy the Jewish people, the gay people, and the black people. That's what it says. Read the literature. You go to Iran and you're gay, you'll be killed. And the Republicans thought, well, maybe it's a good idea we don't let them have the atomic bomb and the materials to make it with. Oh, but the Democrats and Hillary Clinton and Obama, kiss their feet of the Iranians. Why? Go ahead, make an atomic bomb. We don't care. Here's $300 million to help you do it. What a bunch of stupid fools. Don't you know the Iranians are going to take that bomb, float it into New York Harbor, and blow it up there to kill the Jews and the blacks and the gays? No. Wake up. Wake up. Vote for Donald Trump and become a Republican. And you don't have democracy by voting. You have democracy by participating in the party. Every 2 weeks you meet with your neighbors. And you talk about the issues. And you continually feed up to the leaders what you want to have happen. You don't spend $50 million to run someone for city council or president. You hire someone one term to serve you, to tell the Congress what you think. And then you give someone else a turn. No career politicians. No people getting over on you because you're poor or black, pretending they love you when they can't stand your votes. I'm poor and I want to vote for Donald Trump. Please. If you're not going to vote for Donald Trump, if you're going to vote for Hillary Clinton, then write in for this grapefruit. Put this grapefruit in office, because this grapefruit is much better than Hillary Clinton.